Yo, what up, niggas? It's your buddy Philko here, reporting kinda live from Budapest, Hungary. And this topic, this video is going to be a very sensitive one, I guess, because I'm very curious to understand something and I want to know how many people think it's true, how many people think it's not true, and how they think about it and all this stuff. Well, yesterday, I was on the computer looking for I was on Google looking for just some 10 historical inaccuracies that we learned in America. Like, how the basic ones, Christopher Columbus discovered America, things like that, like the basic ones. I was just looking for it to make a video for my other channel. And one that I ran on 3 different lists, on 3 different websites, and I was trying to look at the ones that pop up the most, was something about slavery. And what it said was that the vast majority of slaves in Africa weren't just taken by white people, they were sold to white people because slavery was already taking place in Africa. And when I read that and I kept reading it, I was thinking a lot. I didn't really know how to take it. And I was like, okay, this could be true, this could not be true, who knows? But let's just pretend for the sake of this video that it is true, because you can read that in many places, that the majority of slaves were sold to white people. A lot of black people who are pro-black, they love to remind you that, we were slaves, Jim Crow, we were treated badly and all this stuff. They treat us badly, white people are evil. But if our own people were enslaving us, does that mean white people are evil or they're just some other people? Because if we were busy slaving ourselves and then sold ourselves to other people for the same thing, how can we be mad at them when we were doing it ourselves? Isn't that hypocritical? If it's true. They don't teach, I don't remember learning this in school. I never remember learning that blacks were sold. I remember learning that we were just taken against our own will and all this stuff. But a lot of people say that we sold ourselves, even white people. They say white people were slaves too. In Egypt, black people had white slaves and all this stuff. That slavery was just a part of life. But in America, we kind of look at it as whenever we think slavery, we think evil white people brutally treated black people because they're black. That's how we kind of see it, and that's the picture we have. And I'm really just so curious to know, how normal was slavery before slavery in America? How normal was it to force people to do things for you? And a lot of times slavery wasn't even only based on race, it was just based on class. Like poor people had to do this, rich people just controlled them. It could just be like that too. So I think the idea we have of slavery in general in America is because, we only think about us. We only think about us. And the whole idea that a lot of black slaves were sold to the Europeans would piss off a lot of blacks, and they'll say it's not true, but they don't know. Now, I'm not saying it is true, and I'm not saying it isn't true, but I just keep hearing it, and it just makes me wonder, did that happen? And if it did, how often did it happen that blacks just sold their people to Europeans? Because if that's the case, isn't it our fault we were slaves? Like, the people who sold us, isn't that really fucked up? And fuck just selling us, they were enslaving their own people in general. Isn't that fucked up? I mean, you just let me know. Because this is something that we need to discuss in the black community. Like, we're so on this, white people they're just evil, they came and got us, they did this and that and all this and that. But we never address the fact or the possible fact. We never address the possible fact that our people fucked us over. They double teamed us, our people and the white people. It's a double team. You know what I mean? Some blacks made money off of selling other blacks into slavery to whites. That is fucked up. That is beyond Uncle Tomming. That is way beyond it. So I advise, if you're a black person and you're watching this video, I advise you to do some research, just check it out and just see how much you can find about it. Because a lot of white teachers and stuff don't want to teach this. Well, I think a lot of schools and stuff don't want to teach this because it will sound really, really racist. Because the average black person hears this and just off the back say, oh, that's bullshit, that's bullshit. And I understand the feeling, but it just might have some truth to it. That's all I'm saying. So I think as a people, we should look into this and see if this is true, because that shit's crazy. That shit is beyond crazy, because I can't sit here and look at pictures of white people whipping blacks, hanging blacks, and all this stuff, like all white people are evil, when in fact it's possible that motherfucking our people was the reason we're in that situation. We were sold. So I don't know, people, just let me know later.